Welcome to Bonnie's Beat. I'm your host, Bonnie Squires. We're coming to you from Radnor Studio 21 in beautiful downtown Wayne. We like to showcase people who are doing important, interesting things in the community, whether it's academia, a charity, a special event, whatever. And today I've got an old friend and a former colleague. She's still at Temple University, Dr. Catherine Hirsh-Pasek, famous author, nationally known, and something at the Brookings Institution. What are you at the Brookings, Kathy?
They tell me I'm a senior fellow.
A senior fellow at the Brookings Institution in Washington, D.C. Oh, my goodness. And she just launched how many books?
This is number 14.
Her 14th book in collaboration with her longtime colleague, Roberta Golinkoff, who's also a professor at Temple's.
No, she's at Delaware.
Oh, she's the University of Delaware.
Mhm.
I forgot. You're together so often. I
Yeah,
thought
we
she
are.
was also at...
Some people think we're one person.
Yes.
It's been 37 years of collaboration, Bonnie. That is a long time.
That's amazing.
It's more than most marriages.
I was going to say the same thing.
Right?
Yes,
It's like amazing.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. And Dr. Kathy Hirsh-Pasek has just written an opus with Roberta Golinkoff, which is called Becoming Brilliant: What Science Tells Us About Raising Successful Children. Everybody wants their kids to succeed, Kathy. So what does your book tell us that nobody knew before?
Well, actually, it tells us quite a lot because, you see, there's a lot of stuff on the market today that is designed to help make your baby a genius. And one of those that I saw recently was like a little tampon-like structure with a speaker on the end. And then you could play music to the fetus. So wait, and you know, you think we're finally getting to a point where it can't get any worse, but it does, you know? At any rate, I think the problem here is that we've all been caught up in the news that scares the heck out of us, right? If our child turns over, God forbid, in the crib, the baby could die of suffocation. If the child isn't quantified, they call it the quantifiable baby. If we aren't quantifying how much oxygen the baby is getting, if we aren't watching right away how many hours of sleep they got, how many hours of sleep you got, then we don't know enough to be able to raise our child. And if you look at the psychology, what we actually know about the science of kids, it would say that kids grow up pretty much everywhere and in cultures all over the world, and they have done that for centuries, and that we should enjoy parenthood. So what we are doing is actually shifting a little bit what our society's definition of success is. Now, parents do want successful children, but what does that mean? What does it mean?
Means they can go brag to their friends. My son the doctor, my son the lawyer, right?
Right.
Or my daughter the judge.
Right, and they want their entry into Harvard Law School when they're 3 months of age. So if you think about it, what we're doing is we're defining success by let's get our kids ready to do reading, writing, and math now, okay, immediately. And the question is really whether that's what we want. Well, let's step back now. We can teach kids facts. We know how to do it. We can teach parrots facts. But turns out that computers today will actually learn more facts than you and I will, and more facts than our children ever will. And they say that information is doubling every 2.5 years. That means that if I taught you every fact available to people today, well, you can see in 2.5 years you'd be down, right, 50%. Then 2.5 more. So believing that we should just fill empty heads with content might not be the best definition of success. Let me try another one on you. Success is that we want our children to be happy, healthy, social, caring, and thinking children who are going to grow up to be collaborative, compassionate, creative, critical thinkers, and responsible citizens of tomorrow.
For that, you need a magic wand, right?
Well, I don't think so. I think what you need to do is to let the science that we already know about, that doesn't just look at whether you can spit back numbers and letters. It's important to know your numbers and letters, but that's not all there is. So the journey in our book is, how do you get a child who's happy, healthy, caring, social, and thinking, and who's going to grow up to be a whole child.
Let's put the cover of that book. I love the cover of the book. Let's put Becoming Brilliant. What science tells us about raising successful children. Whose kid is that adorable cutie pie?
Well, we're really lucky today that you can get a lot of cute, adorable babies on the web. So
Okay.
that's where we found cute, adorable baby.
I
Not
thought-
that we don't have our own.
Yes, I figured. Just, I can't tell if it's a girl or a boy because it's so beautiful.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Right? This is for
Okay.
all kids. All
For
kids
all
everywhere.
Kids, all kids everywhere.
Yeah.
Very clever, very clever. But for many years, you were urging parents, let the kids have some free time. Don't program every waking second and schlep them to soccer and baseball and drama and this and that. Let them make up their own games on their own. Let them play with friends and not be supervised.
Well, I don't think my theme song has changed at all. So the theme song now is just rooted in a kind of grid. Call it the report card for the 21st century. So what we suggest is if you look at the developmental science, you can actually chart out the suite of skills that are grounded in science, that can be changed over time, so there's something you can do about it, right? And we asked, what would those skills look like? Well, the first one is learning how to get along, being with other people. What you hear from the business community all the time now is we don't have kids who know how to collaborate. We don't know how to hire people working time.
They're glued to a screen,
Absolutely.
an iPad, and they don't know how to converse with people.
Exactly. Now, I'm not saying the iPad is bad. I'm not saying that working on a computer is bad, but everything has to be done in measure. And we have to leave some time, and there are studies suggesting this, for people to be with people. That's our calling card. Human beings are social. In fact, one of my colleagues, Mike Tomasello, said, we are the ultra social beings. That's what we do best, better than any other species on the planet. So let's help our kids find moments to be with other people, other kids, other adults, build communities, know how to control their impulses. If they want the swing, then come up with a plan. Don't just knock Johnny off the swing. All right. So that's collaboration. Built on that is communication. If you have someone else to speak with, then you'll learn richer language skills. You'll learn better reading and writing skills, and the lost art of listening, which is gone by the wayside in a Facebook era where everybody puts up what they had for breakfast yesterday, as if you cared, right? So collaboration and communication.
Donald Trump.
Well,
if he doesn't stop tweeting, who cares? He's polluting the airwaves.
Well,
Sorry.
I'm gonna pass over that, because I think no matter who you are as a parent and whatever your political orientation, I think we all want our children to be good communicators and good collaborators. At the third level is content. And, to learn content, to learn about social studies, to learn about math, to learn about reading, you have to have communication. As reading doesn't work if you don't have any language skills and collaboration. So content is one of the suite of skills, but only one. It's not the only thing. Built on that is critical thinking. Build on that, creative innovation, coming up with something new that no one's ever thought of before. And building toward the end is confidence, the ability to give it a whirl.
Got a lot of C's in there.
6 of them, in fact.
Oh.
The 6 C's. And that 6 C's gives you a grid for remembering what the suite of skills could be in a changing world to help prepare our children. And then we build that up so that you can not only see what the skills are, but you can see 4 levels on each skill and ask yourself, who am I? What's my profile? Am I a collaborator? And at what level am I? Am I a communicator? At what level am I? Am I a creative thinker? And do I want to be better? And what kind of environments do I need to build for my children so they have a chance to create, have a chance to collaborate, and have a chance to communicate?
It's interesting because early in your career, you got national prominence for having designed a method of measuring language skills of little babies and toddlers that don't have language.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
Well, you know, if you look carefully at young children, they tell us a tremendous amount. And sometimes we're so busy with our own agenda that we don't look into the eyes of our child to find out what's important to them. And I think today, more than ever, we are bombarded with, as I said, lots of information. And sometimes we're so bombarded that we don't even have the chance to take that moment, the 3 seconds, the 20 seconds, to be sensitive to where our children are at. Yet, it's critically important for that sea of communication. And we know that when parents do that better, we know that their children's language will be better even 2 years out. I'll give you an example. I can't tell you how many times I've been places and I see parents and the cell phone rings or a text comes in and there were little people and they immediately pull out their cell phone and start looking, immediately not looking at their child.
And that's what happened at the zoo, where the mother turned away for a second, and the kid falls 15 feet into a moat and is dragged around by this gorgeous 400-pound gorilla, an endangered species, and it just must have broken the heart of the head of the zoo and the
I'm sure, and the mother.
Oh my God!
But let's take you know, that's one of the more serious consequences.
Right.
But the truth is that every day, in the normal interactions between mothers and children, and fathers and children, and aunts and grandparents, we are bombarded with this extra stimuli. And when we look at it in the lab and we put it under a microscope, we see that that sea of communication is disrupted, and that children then learn we're not paying attention to them. So collaboration matters, that back and forth. If you pulled out your cell phone right now, I'd think, well, she isn't really as interested in talking to me. She's interested in finding out what's going on.
It used to be that the parents would say, I'm on the phone, don't interrupt me. Now, it's ever present and it's 24 hours a day.
Yeah, it's ubiquitous, right? Now you don't have to go to that landline spot to answer the phone.
Right.
It's happening in your pocket 24/7.
And you started your research with little babies, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you must also, along the way, have looked at teenagers or adults or...
Well, you know, a motto like the one we're proposing in Becoming Brilliant is really one that takes you from the cradle to the boardroom. And what I thought was most exciting about this is that it's more about a set of principles, of things to look for. So let's go to our living room, right? How's our living room set up? Is our living room set up so that the chairs actually face one another?
Everything faces the television set.
There you go. So the sea of collaboration isn't necessarily getting enough play. So what could we do? How could we change that? Could we, I'll give you another example. As a mom of 3 sons, I desperately know how hard it is to get out the door in the morning. I was high-fiving myself at 9 o'clock if my children got where they were supposed to get to, okay? I understand. And we used to have these, I won't say fights, but disagreements, so that I would say, please just eat your breakfast. I need to get out the door. You're going to be late. Or one would come down and didn't like what we had on for the clothing that day. Now imagine, let's do a better job of collaboration. It's hard sometimes. You can't do it all the time. But had I only asked my child to help me pick it out the night before, I wouldn't have had the battles in the morning before we got out for school. So you can build collaboration, communication, content, critical thinking, creative innovation, and confidence. Confidence is a good one. Let's take it for just a moment. Now, the famous word they use for part of confidence is grit. Does that kid have perseverance in the face of a challenge? Does the kid keep going, but in a safe way? Does that child have a growth mindset? Are you the one who's always saying, you're so terrific, you're the most marvelous person I've ever met? Like godlike in the way we talk about it with hyperbole? Or do we say, that was great effort, I'm really proud of the effort that you put into that. And then maybe our children stay with the crayon just a little bit longer, or with the pencil just a little bit longer, because we praise them for effort, not for always being like the greatest artist who was ever born. And we know that can make a difference. Also, on the other side, if we only praise them for getting the good grade, for doing it perfectly, for coloring in the lines, we're not going to get a child who has the courage to color outside the lines.
Outside the box, yes. My father, every time I'd bring home a report card, it'd be all A's, and he'd say, "Is that the best you could do?"
Yeah, yeah, there you go.
My brother once passed a college course. They bought him a car right away.
Yeah, so there you go, there you go.
Well, who's the publisher of Becoming Brilliant?
Well, Becoming Brilliant is published by the American Psychological Association.
Ooh.
Yeah, which is...
That's a stamp of approval.
A stamp of approval, yeah. And we were very, very excited that they took this project on, because it really represents a synthesis of thousands and thousands and thousands of articles that have been published in what is now being called the science of learning. And the more we understand about how heads learn, the more we can adapt what we do and how we teach and how we parent to be the very best for our young children. And we all want the best for our kids. So this is just a way of tapping into it and helping parents not only tap in, but see the world a little bit differently.
You must have used some of your own advice in raising your children, because your son, Benj, whom I know, just won an Obie and a Drama Desk Award for a Broadway show that's opening in December that's called
Dear Evan Hansen. So everyone should buy tickets.
Yes, and you were at this New York celebrity-laden, starstruck evening where your son, how old's Benj now?
Benj just turned 31.
How could he be 31?
I know.
You look 31.
That's very sweet of you. Very kind indeed.
Unbelievable.
No, it's a lot of fun. I mean, he's one of my 3 boys. My oldest, Josh, is also just a delightful, fabulous person.
And a computer maven from the time he was like 6 years old.
Yeah, he's
unbelievable.
An interesting guy, and he's doing political communications as a professor at UMichigan.
Ooh.
And my baby Mike, who is now 26, is getting his PhD in social psychology and studying religious intolerance. So, the truth is, and what's most important to me, is that my kids really are happy, healthy, compassionate mensches. And that's what I hoped for them, that they're doing what they're passionate about, and they're succeeding at what they're passionate about. And the rest, is really just gravy.
Let's find out about your background.
Yeah.
First of all, you're married to a very prominent attorney in Philadelphia, Hirsh-Pasek. Have to give him a plug and give him some credit too.
Well,
right?
I'll tell you, he's the most amazing human being I've ever met. And if I were lucky enough to meet him even today, I'd want to marry him in a nanosecond. And we are both just both like newlyweds. This will be year 41.
Oh my God, what, were you married when you were 12? Jeez.
No, I was just lucky to have met the right guy early. And let me tell you, I met the right guy.
Where were you raised, and where did you go to high school, college, etc.?
Yeah, so I was raised in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And I went to college at University of Pittsburgh, which is where I met Jeff, and graduate school at University of Pennsylvania.
What degree did you get from University of Pennsylvania?
I got the PhD there.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
My alma mater.
If you go long enough, they kick you out with a degree. It's one of those things. It's grit, persistence.
And how long have you been at Temple University?
Oh, I've been at Temple, I think it's now 27 years.
Oh,
it's a long time.
Long time.
I know. I'm one of those people who's loyal,
We just lost Peter Leocoris, who did so much to enlarge Temple, to make it international.
Oh, he really did. He was fabulous.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Temple's a great place, I mean, it's a powerhouse, and it is definitely, you know, as they call it, the red hot momentum. So I think the red hot momentum is
They
happening.
even have a football team that's in contention now. Who would ever believe that?
It's unbelievable.
25 years ago,
Yeah.
we had to bribe people to come to the
Yeah.
football games.
And North
now-
Philly's looking good.
Yeah, absolutely.
But more importantly than that, you know, they've been a really supportive environment for my work. And, you know, the trade book route is not what most academics do. And I still publish widely in the academic market as well. But to write a book like Becoming Brilliant and have the opportunity to really showcase it as part of not only what we want to do as parents, but part of the Skills for a Changing World at Brookings is very exciting.
When you said you had a book launch, what does that mean?
Yeah, it was really cool. You know, the Brookings Institution's a think tank in Washington, D.C.
Where's it located?
Near, it's in DuPont Circle, I guess.
Oh,
one block
excusez-moi.
off. It's lovely,
Fancy
lovely.
neighborhood.
Good neighborhood.
Fancy, fancy. All
Yeah.
the consulates are there.
Yeah,
right?
the consulates are there too, and you know, and they have a very big foreign policy presence, so it's pretty much a think tank kind of place, and they do a lot of research, and then their goal is to try to have impact and wide reach. Anyway, they were kind enough to do our book launch, which we were really excited by. The book launch took place just this past week, a week ago today. And with
Was there media coverage?
some, not a lot. You know, they don't do a lot for that reason per se. It's more about getting the ideas filtered out so that real people, like parents and policymakers and educators, can all hold on to the latest, greatest science.
What
and
was
ask
it
how
like?
it can be
I mean,
used.
was there an audience?
Oh yeah, there were. It was actually standing room only. It was about a little over 200 people.
Wow.
And
Your
very,
hand
very
must have hurt from autographing, right?
Actually, you know, I only autographed a few of the books. They were actually sold so quickly. 63 books were out the door before I got to the back of the room.
Oh my goodness.
It was stunning. It was just stunning. It was like, wow, what happened
That's
here?
exciting.
It's very exciting. I mean, the whole idea is very exciting
Can
because
people find it on Amazon?
yes, it is on Amazon, and you can also, if you go to becoming-brilliant.com, you can just click away and right away get your copy of the book.
Becoming-brilliant.com.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got to get a copy of that book.
Well,
But
I
I
hope
want
so.
you to
Let me know what you
autograph
think.
it.
Let me know what you
to
think.
Autograph it. Yes. And this is the 14th book?
14th book. Yeah, it's amazing. I think the first time I even thought about writing a book, I was like scared to death. But the sea of confidence is to give it a whirl, you know? And if you don't reach for the stars, you'll never touch one.
That's a very good philosophy. Well, obviously, you've touched the stars a few times.
Well, I've been lucky. I've been a very lucky person with a lot of people who have taken the ideas and allowed them to grow.
Have you won some awards? I'm sure you must have won some awards.
Yeah,
in your
there's some
career.
awards in there, you know.
You don't want to mention them.
Nah, it's, you know, awards are funny. It's like you stay in a field long enough, and especially I think in Roberta's and my case, we've been sort of bold in trying to create an area that we call edible science, science that is accessible, digestible, and usable. And at the time that we started with our first book, How Babies Talk, and through our book, Einstein Never Used Flashcards.
I love that one.
You know,
Einstein never used flashcards.
But
yes.
nobody was doing that. You know, the science stayed in the laboratory, and it was published in scientific journals, and we still do that. That is the way you ground science. But we really wanted to do more, and we believe that that science has a lot to share. You know, when I just became the president of the International Congress on Infant Studies. And
Wow.
we're coming up on our 40th year of
Where do you have
research in
your
infancy.
international conventions?
Well, they change all over, but the next one's actually going to be in Philly in 2018, which I'm very excited
Oh,
about.
that's terrific.
And we just left New Orleans.
The mayor must love you. You'll
Well,
bring all those people to Philadelphia.
We'll bring people, and there'll be baby watchers, you know, right here in Philadelphia. The point is, though, that when you look back, you know, and I guess that is one of the advantages of of getting to be my age is that you can look back and say, so what happened in the world of infancy, over the last 40 years? And the truth is, our science has progressed and has made wonderful, enormous, incredible discoveries. And I encourage everyone to take a peek. I remember a long time ago, you didn't even get your baby after the baby was born, right? The baby went into
That's right.
into a nursery kind of intensive care. Now it's standard. Why? Because infant research talked about bonding. We didn't know from bonding, right? We didn't know what to do about SIDS. Now we know that babies, should sleep on their back and it gives them a better shot. We didn't know that babies, even, when we go back to Dr. Spock, reading the original's fabulous, because Spock would say there's really not much there. But now we know.
You know what? I just happened to mention the other day Chaim Ganat, the late Chaim Ganat, who was a child psychologist, used to be on talk shows all the time. And his philosophy was, you give a child a decision that the child can make.
That's
you
right.
ask the child, do you want your egg hard-boiled or very hard-boiled?
Yeah.
I use that line so many times.
Yeah, no, it's so true. I mean, which shirt do you want, the green or the red?
Yes,
Because
right.
till you give them too many choices, you're spending your life, and
Right.
opening up the possibility of having a fight. At any rate, I think we know a lot, and Becoming Brilliant was an attempt to put that knowledge from the last 40 years into edible science that is accessible and usable and digestible. And I hope that that parents and policymakers and educators will take a hard look at what we know and whether we really, really want to groom our children for a future where they are like the robots or for a future where they are responsible, creative citizens. The business community has already made its choice, and that is they're going for the creative, communicative, collaborative people. And if you want to get a job at Google today, the interview, is about those kind of people, not those who just spit back facts. So Becoming Brilliant will tell you how to do it.
Your book about Einstein never used flashcards. Give a couple sentences about that, because that was just wonderful.
Well, it's very much of the same ilk, to be honest. One of the conclusions we reach in both books is that playful learning, that those moments that we create with our children where we're doing the math and we're doing the reading and we're doing the communication and we're doing the collaboration, those playful moments actually are pretty rich moments. The everyday is spectacular. I'll take just one example.
And you don't have to hold up and make them read from a flashcard, right?
Well, let me just give you one example. If I showed you a pail and a shovel at the beach, since it's the beginning of summer, and I say, what did you see? A lot of people will say, I saw, a pail and a shovel. And I would say, do you know you didn't? You saw quantity. How many times do you need to take that shovel to fill up that pail, right? So therein is a math lesson. If you want to build a castle, there is telling a story and building the cruntulations. There's a vocab word for you, right? So if we see the world we live in differently, we will see learning opportunities everywhere. And that's the goal. The goal is to enrich the everyday, make it spectacular, and at the same time, have fun as parents and help our children reach their fullest potential.
Michelle Obama is going to love you. Have you been invited
I
to the
love
White
her
House?
too.
Have you been invited to the White House yet?
Yeah, a couple times. Yeah, it's been really fun.
Very nice. I assume that the Today Show will want you to come on and talk about this book.
From your mouth to God's ears, but we
Yes.
hope it happens,
Yes.
because I do think that our society is going in the wrong direction, and I think it's time to reimagine education. It's funny. I mean, I always think of it this way, that you can have a horse and buggy, and you can say, wow, what I want to do with the horse and buggy now is I want to put different wheels on it. And so it'll be a slightly better horse and buggy. And then you put on some other steering mechanism and say, wow, look what we just did to the horse and buggy. And that's what we have largely been doing with our educational system, right? But I think maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to move to the car, And if we really want to get cool, we can move to the hybrid,
Yeah.
We know how to do that. But education in a world that's digital, it doesn't just exist in a classroom. It exists in and out of school. It exists for all of us throughout a lifetime, 0 to 99. And it exists not in one skill that's content, but in a suite of skills that we've called the 6 C's. Breadth, breadth, breadth.
Everybody's got to get a copy of Becoming Brilliant, What Science Tells Us About Raising Successful Children. And our guest today has been Dr. Kathy Hirsh-Pasek, who is a genius. You don't mind if I say that, do you?
I'm not sure it's true, but
anyway, and we'll see everybody next week.